Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. Today we're going to be continuing on with more post music. This week, specifically looking at post rock. And, yeah, it's got some similarities with post metal, doesn't it? I think so. Anyways, so let's continue our journey and see where this little post rock rabbit hole leads us. Today we're looking at, what are we looking at? We got requests from Santiago Puyo, Ryan Pattison, Eric Reifinger, Monkey Toes, Sanskar Wagley, Noisy Pink Bubble, MDD47, Deathcopter, Thom Fearn, SnowQuest, and Grizzly Atoms, all asking for Pelican. So that's what we're going to be doing today. And what is this? March into the Sea. March to the Sea was quite dominant in the request. So that's what we're going to be doing. Pelican, March into the Sea. I'm not situated at all. Like this is the roughest start to a video I think we've had in quite some time. All right, let's see what Pelican's got going for us. Let's see what Pelicans got for us. Just buying some time. Let's go. It's a really dirty mix. We got one side sliding up and one side sliding down. I like those accents in the drums. There's a lot of love for the snare in this drum's work. Ooh, talk about a transition. So this music is definitely riff-based, but they're still throwing a lot of variety into the mix. I really like how the two rhythmic elements are playing off of each other here. Yeah, this part's hitting real hard. Really pushing how long they can hold that note, huh? I really like this drum section here. I mean, it's highly repetitive, but I really like the way that the different cymbals are being used to add different textures to different parts of the riff. So there's a lot of offbeat syncopation in this section, except in like the fourth bar. You listen to the drums, and the fourth bar of the phrase is just on the beat every single time. And now they've brought the slide up from the beginning of the song back to play with the concept that they just introduced in that slower section, kind of packaging the whole thing back up. The drummer doing the slow speed up on those fast fills. All right. So that was certainly interesting. Let me make sure that this is not playing another track. Ran into that issue the other day. Um, one of these, yep, makes you go bye bye. All right. So far, I think this has been one of my more favorite post bands, both post songs that we've checked out. Um, it definitely has some of the ideas that were present in post metal and what we checked out yesterday, where, um, there's definitely that underlying theme of repetition, how much repetition, but it's not so prevalent in this track at least. There's still a lot of ideas being introduced, being played around with. Uh, there's multiple layers happening, different layers coming in and out. There's always something new being added to the mix. So the underlying part might be fairly repetitious. Might be playing actually I'll say it, most of the riffs were short. Some of them were 1 or 2 bars. We had some that were 4 bars. For the most part, though, we're talking about shorter riffs here, shorter phrases. Um, and usually the instrument that starts a section, the instrument or the instruments that are kind of introducing a section, they're going to be playing their riff for minutes, could be, before we shift over to another section. However, each section, despite being repetitious, brings new things to the table, and we had a ton of sections. Um, they were always wanting to jump to a new idea, a new concept. This was like ADD repetitious ADD, droning ADD. Uh, right when I'd be like, okay, this is starting to get a little tiresome. I've heard this for a bit. They're like, okay, we got you, bro. Here's a new section. We're gonna throw this in your face now, um, and throw it in their face and throw it in my face. They did. I'm not gonna lie. This is a very dirty, loud mix. Muddy. I'd even say muddy is some of this. It's just a very raw sound. It is as far from clean as you can get. Mm, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. We could get some real dirty mixes, but this is not clean. I would never put this in the same category as a clean mix or a clean master of this track. Um, Instruments, especially the guitars, can really overlap and sort of mold into a single sound. The only time that they don't is when an instrument is giving specific spotlight in the mix, and they almost become too distinct. It almost feels like they're playing outside of the sound, if that makes sense. They're almost too loud, I would say. They're too distinct. They're too separate from the rest of what's going on. Um, so yeah, that's definitely something that happened a couple of times. Um, Mostly for the guitar, I'd say. Although the drum at the end, I felt the drum was a bit loud when everything kind of backed out and we were holding those notes out for a while. The drums were very loud in that part. Um, Something else is the phrasing layering. Sometimes it lined up beautifully. And I'm like, yeah, that's some smart layering. I don't know if we can call this counterpoint because I wouldn't say that there were too many melodies being introduced. A lot of it was sort of like sound floor layering where you would put a melody on top of what was being presented. So I would not technically say that there was counterpoint involved, even though there was multiple layered sections. But sometimes their layering was just on point. And I'm like, yes, that is beautiful. I love the way that these two phrases are lining up, the way that their syncopations, complement and contradict each other. And yeah, those sections were amazing. But there's also a ton of parts where I was just like, this is not working for me. Some of it was mixing. It was just too muddy to hear the distinct parts, and it ended up just being this audio force. Not so much separate instruments, but just this, just audio being played at me. Not necessarily wall of sound style, but just I couldn't hear coherent individual sections. Other times, though, it wasn't the mix, and it was the music. It was what was written, what was played. The two or three parts just did not line up. It ended up sounding chaotic, um, and just disjointed. I think that's a good phrase, and I actually think that's a good a phrase, a word. I think that's a good word for the entire experience of Pelican March to the Sea. Disjointed. The song doesn't seem to have an idea of what it wants to be other than experimentational. Experimental. That's the word I'm looking for. Experimental. It seems to me as not a first time attempt, but definitely more of a novice attempt. There's not a lot of experience here in being experimental, in doing, uh, you know, unique things, putting a bunch of ideas together, layering. The techniques are there. They're just not sculpted into, a good, a fantastic experience. I'm not going to say good, a fantastic experience. This is a good track. And I would not be surprised to find out that this was a band's first attempt or this was their first album, uh, you know, altogether, just like, their debut album. It would not surprise me if this was their first attempt at being more experimental. If you told me that they were more straight rock before this and this was their first experimental album, yeah, I could go with that too. I don't know the context of it. I could be wrong, and this is, their ninth album, and this is what they're going for. And by all means, that's fantastic. I've said it before. Music is art. I'm not here to tell them they're doing it wrong. There's no way to write music. There's no right way to write music. But to me, without context, it sounds like an early attempt at doing this. It is missing some core functionality in the experimentation. It feels like experimentation for experimentation's sake at some points, and it's just a highly disjointed uh, track overall. Individually, there are certain sections that feel disjointed. Overall, when you look at every section as an entire piece, it can feel disjointed. Um, However, though, they still keep a core identity, a core DNA to string up the entire song. It isn't like a Between the Buried and Me track where every section is its own concept and it's just so far fetched. They change time signatures, key signatures, genres. We're not that far away. There is still a core identity. There is a core emotion, a core texture that is being presented in the song. So even though every section is different and unique as far as looking at the song, there's still a core concept tying every section together. And like I said, they did finish it up. They wrapped it up very nicely by bringing back either the ideas of one of the first sections or the exact riff from one of the first sections. And it could be that they were utilizing riffs throughout, doing a bit of theme, bringing back past ideas. There was a lot going on, a lot of sections. That was the final bit was where I picked up something that I heard before, but that doesn't mean that was the only one. They could have been doing this throughout, but I do like how it ends, how it starts, and it kind of creates this nice bow and ties up the ties up the whole song with a nice little bow on top, bringing it full circle. I really enjoyed that. Dang, this is getting very intense lighting in here. uh, the sun is going down, and I am losing my backdrop lighting. I've got key light, I've got soft light, I don't have background light. Anyways, so let's keep this thought train rolling. So yeah, I enjoy the song for what it is. I'm trying to meet it on its own standard, on its own terms, whether that's a first stab at being experimental, a first stab at trying to do whatever this is. This could be just pure experiment. This could be we used to do post rock droning stuff and we want to take it in a different direction. We still want to incorporate that, but we want it to be a little bit more moving. Or it could be all intentional. This is, way far into their lifetime as a band, and everything they did here just nailed their goal. I'm trying to meet them on one of these terms. All right. Uh, with that said, like I said, I do enjoy what they're going for. The texture is great. I like how there's a core string tying us from the beginning to the end, leading us through the song rather than it feeling completely disjointed. However, just there's just not enough cohesion for it all to feel like a remarkable package. Um, However, dude, though, okay, so that one transition was gorgeous. It basically transitioned from one of the heavier sections into like a medium section. It wasn't totally soft, but it wasn't as hard and driving as we had seen up until that point. And it was really cool because um, what happened was an acoustic guitar came in, or one of the guitars switched to clean or something like that, and they started playing the next section about 2 bars before we got into it. And then when the rest of the band transitioned in, it felt seamless because we had already been introduced to some of the ideas in the next section. And the cool thing is it made me think of an L cut or a J cut. I always get those two confused. But anyways, in film, a smash cut is when you have your audio and video from one scene, your audio and video from the other scene, and you smash them together. There's just a hard cut. The audio is, cuts at the same point as the video. But with a J cut and an L cut, you either let the audio transition first so you hear the next scene before it shows up, or you let the video come in first and you see the next scene before it comes up. So you'll see it without audio. You'll see it with the audio from the previous scene. Um, and this stuff's really cool. I mean, you've seen these in film all the time. It's not like it's high level technique. This is like film editing 101, where you'll see two people talking and one of them says they're going to get on a train, and then you hear the train and then it cuts to the train station, right? That's what happened here. I don't know if they did that intentionally. I don't know how this happened, but that's exactly what it reminded me of. And there's a reason that L cuts and J cuts are used, because they provide a more seamless experience where you don't get that harsh cut of your audio and video at the same time and you get that disjointed feel. And that happened here to a T. Like, it was the smoothest transition because we introduced it before we actually got there. Phenomenal. I've never thought about that in my life, not intentionally, not in that. Whoops. I don't know what just happened. You guys might have heard. Maybe not. Um, yeah, I've never thought of it in that perspective before. But now that I have, and I've kind of associated like that smooth audio transition with film's J cut or L cut. I forget. I forget. I seriously do. Um, but anyways, I will be thinking about that the next time I write music easily, because that was such a smooth transition. And we've had nice transitions before, but I don't think I've ever heard one quite like this. Like, if you weren't paying real close attention, you might not have even realized we transitioned. It feels so natural. It doesn't feel like we went to a new section. So, yeah, yeah. I mean, if that was the only, it's not, but if that was the only thing I took away from this, it still have been well worth listening to, just for that one little tidbit there. So yeah, I that's gonna wrap it up for me. Let me know what you guys thought though down in the comments. Pelican, March to the Sea. I I don't even know how that ties in. Like, I forgot the song had a name, and I'm trying to tie that into some of the emotions and textures I got out of it, and it's not. I don't know. I'm not getting much of a connection there. But like I said, this is where you guys come in. You can let me know what your thoughts were. If you enjoy Pelican, if there's other tracks I should be checking out. I know there's a 20-minute version. Don't put it down in the comments. You reacted to the wrong one. You should have done the 20-minute one. Guys, it's fine. We might get to the 20-minute one eventually. We might not. I'd still say this is a fairly complete package. It sounds like a good song. Unified doesn't sound like there's anything missing. Uh, but that's coming from my perspective of not having heard the 20-minute. Maybe it's the most phenomenal thing. It'll blow my mind, and I have no idea why I did the 11. But I know it exists. All right, I don't need a million comments telling me that there's a 20-minute version. But yes, let me know about other Pelican songs I should be checking out. And also, if anyone has information about the context of this song, I'm really curious if this is late in their discography or early. I'm still banking on the early part. This feels like a band that has a real good direction, real strong sense of music, but just doesn't have that experience yet. They need that maturity to really shape this into some really powerful stuff. But like I said, I could always be wrong. It could have been entirely intentional, and the disjointed feeling was, purposefully done to create that disjointed feeling. I don't know. You guys can let me know about that. Above the comments is a description box. You guys can check that one out. There's a ton of links. You can check out my blocked videos. You can add requests to the spreadsheet, the request spreadsheet. If you'd like to join the Discord or get your name in the credits or do any of the voting or check out my live stream, which I should be doing another one in the next week or so. Either this weekend or next weekend, we'll be doing a live stream. All that can be handled at the Patreon. You can check out the different benefits of the tiers there and figure out which one interests you the most. Really cool stuff, though. Definitely check it out if you're a fan of the channel. And that's going to wrap this one up. Tomorrow, we're going to do another post rock, but there will be no special selection as with the last 2 weeks. We're not doing them on Wednesdays. All the special selection stuff is on weekends now. All right. So, yeah, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. Until then, you guys stay safe out there and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.